Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Prince Automation Destination. This side Prince. I hope you are doing well. So today we are going to continue our discussion on deserialization techniques, and as part of today's discussion, we are going to discuss about how to deserialize a JSON response into POJO classes with the help of GSON library. But before we dive deep into the current discussion, let us quickly recap what we covered in the previous lecture. So in the previous lecture, we discussed about how to use object mapper to deserialize a JSON response into POJO classes. Also, we talked about type reference in object mapper to deserialize the JSON response directly into Java collection like list and map. In case you want to understand more on this, you can check out the same in icon. So now let us jump onto the current discussion. So what is GSON? So GSON is a library that we are going to utilize. So it is another way than object mapper. So object mapper is one of the most widely used technique to deserialize a JSON response into POJO classes. Similarly, GSON is another library which can also be utilized to convert a JSON response into POJO classes, right? So this is a dependency that we are going to add into the pom.xml first, and then we are going to create object of JSON, and then using from JSON method of this particular JSON class, we are going to pass JSON string as first argument, and on the right hand side we are going to provide the POJO class, and as a result JSON string will be mapped into POJO class, right? So now let me go to this particular website which contains sample endpoints. So the endpoint that we are going to talk about is create booking, right? So this is to create a sample booking which is having this as a base URI. This is the resource, right? And this is going to be the body, right? And it is expecting content type as application JSON. So we are going to hit this particular endpoint with the help of rest assured, and as a result we are going to get this particular response. So we'll be converting this particular response into POJO classes. So now let us navigate to the project, right? So this is a sample Maven project which is having pom.xml. It has this particular rest assured dependency to hit the rest assured REST APIs in. Then I have added this particular JSON library to deserialize the JSON response into POJO classes, right? So now I'm going to navigate to src test, and here under src test Java, I have created a package deserialize JSON, and I have added three packages: API, POJO, and utils. In API, we are going to create the same request, that is create. First of all, let us create booking, right? Okay. Now let us add a main method. Okay. Here we are going to use rest assured syntax. So rest assured dot given dot base URI. So first of all, we need to provide base URI, right? So what is the base URI? This is going to be the base URI. So let me copy this particular section and provide it here. Then it is expecting the content type as application JSON. So using this particular method, we can do that. Content type dot JSON, right? Let us move to the next slide. And what else it need? It need body as well, right? So we are going to copy this particular body, right? And then what we can do is under src test resources, we can keep this particular under this particular booking.json, or you can create your own booking.json. So I have already kept as part of previous lectures. So this is what I'm going to use. So this is booking.json. Now what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to copy this particular booking.json first and going to copy path, right? Copy path from content root, going to create booking, right? And before we complete this rest assured syntax, let us first load this particular payload, right? Or body, we can say. So file equal to new file, and inside this we need to provide this particular path, right? Now let us complete this particular rest assured request, right? So we were here, so we need to provide body, right? So in body we can pass this particular file, so it will automatically be passed, meaning whatever the payload is defined here, it will be simply passed here, right? Now we have constructed the request. It's time to hit this request when dot post, right? Inside this we need to provide the resource, which is going to be this particular thing, right? So let me copy it and provide it here, right? And then after we need to extract the response. So then dot extract dot response. Okay. Now let us store this into response. Okay. And now let us try to run it once and see whether we are able to hit this particular request. So you see, booking is created. Now we are going to convert this booking into Pojo classes, right? Convert this particular response into Pojo classes first. Then we are going to map this particular JSON response into Pojo classes, right? So what I'll be doing is I'll be simply copying this particular thing, right? And we have already discussed about different ways of creating Pojo. So you can check out the same in 𝒊𝒈𝒏𝒐𝒓𝒅, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to click on Pojo and I'm going to use IntelliJ plugin. So going to File, New, and going to click on this particular plugin. And here I'm going to provide this particular JSON response, right? And we can choose the root object name. So you will soon understand. Let me quickly generate it, right? So you will see that the Pojo classes are generated. So you see, this is customer booking. So if I go to the actual response, right? The response that we are getting, so it contains booking ID and booking, right? So if you take a look at this particular class, it contains booking, right? And booking ID, right? So booking is a separate Pojo classes created, right? So you go here in booking, you can say first name, last name, total price, deposit paid, as well as booking dates. So for booking dates also there is a separate Pojo class constructed, right? Because it contains other fields, right? So the root object is this particular thing, right? Which contains booking ID and this particular object of booking class, right? So this is how it construct the Pojo classes, right? Now let me navigate here and let us go to this particular util section and let us create, I'll show you, there is nothing, right? I'm going to create a class and name it like JSON util. Inside this, what we are going to do is we are going to create a static method, public static, and what is the return type? It is going to return us the root class, right? Customer booking. So you will soon understand why I'm saying so. So get customer booking, right? And let me remove everything and let us create object of JSON, which is coming from this particular library that we have added. JSON equal to new JSON, right? Now here what we need to do, JSON dot from JSON, right? Here we need to pass the response. So how do we pass response? So let us give it name string JSON. So we'll be passing it from the create booking request, right? Here we'll be using this particular JSON and then we need to provide the root class. So customer booking dot class, right? And let us provide the semicolon and let us return it, right? So why it is doing so? Because as a result, this particular response, right? This particular response matches with this particular customer booking Pojo. That's why we are directly mapping this into this particular customer booking dot class. That's why it would be returning this customer booking, right? So now we need to go to this particular create booking and here we are going to use JSON utils dot get customer booking and here we need to pass response dot as string, right? And as a result, we will be getting customer booking. Okay. So let us capture this customer booking, right? And we are done, right? Now what we can do is using this customer booking, we can simply get the details. So customer booking dot get booking dot get first name, right? Similarly, I can copy it and I can print last name as well, right? So get last name, right? Similarly, let me copy it once again and instead of last name, let us get the booking dates, right? Which is the internal Pojo class, and here we can get the check-in date, let us say, right? So now let me run it and you will be seeing that JSON is converted into this particular customer booking Pojo, and then we are able to fetch this particular information which can be validated further as part of API testing, right? So let us see the same. So you see, we are able to fetch Prince, Kumar and this particular check-in date. So this is how we can deserialize the JSON response into Pojo classes with the help of JSON. So now let us navigate to slides and talk about how this particular deserialization works. So whenever deserialization takes place, at that point of time, there should be apple-to-apple map between JSON fields and the Pojo classes. What does it mean? Let us try to read this particular statement. So either the field names should match between JSON and POJO, as like this particular example. So for example, in JSON we have name field, so there should be the same field in the POJO as well. Only then deserialization works. Or what we can do is we can use this particular annotation at the serialized name, and we can then replace the field name. So for example, from JSON, this particular name is coming and we want to use a different name in POJO. So this is how we can define, but we need to annotate this particular field with this particular @serialized name, and inside this we need to provide the field name which is coming from JSON. So let us try to understand by practical demonstration, right? So I'll be going to this particular booking, and here what we are going to do is, for example, instead of first name which is coming from JSON, we want to use a different name. So I'm going to copy it simply and going to name it given different name, right? And what I will do is I will simply annotate this particular field with @serialized name, and inside this I'll be providing this particular first name and I'll be updating this particular getter. So this is what GSON uses internally to like generate this particular POJO classes, meaning to deserialize this particular JSON into POJO, right? So I'm going to create a getter. So if we take a look at this, so it is just using the getters, right? Not using setters. Okay. So now what we are going to do is I'm going to this particular create booking, right? So instead of get first name, I'll be using get name, and let us try to run this. So it should work fine without any issue. So what we have done is we have simply changed the name in POJO and used the different name other than the field defined in JSON. So you see it is working fine, right? Now the next thing that we are going to talk about is how to ignore fields, right? So when we work in real time, so in JSON response, what can happen is there can be 100 of fields, but we are interested, let us say, in 50 fields or 25 fields, right? So what we need to do during deserialization, there should be apple to apple match, meaning there should be, like if there are like 100 fields in JSON response, there should be 100 fields in POJO. While in case of JSON, how it works is it doesn't care about the extra fields which are available in JSON. It just care about the fields that are defined in POJO. So for example, in POJO, we have defined only 25 fields. So it will deserialize only 25 fields and it will ignore rest of the fields, right? So this is the default feature of JSON. However, in Object Mapper, this is how it doesn't work like this. It has a different behavior. There we need to do the custom implementation to ignore the fields, right? In case you want to understand, I have already created a video. You can check out the same in icon, right? Now, let us go to this particular example. And what we are going to do is, for example, we are going to remove these fields, right? So let us remove this particular field, right? And let us remove last name as well, right? And let us remove their corresponding getters as well, right? Now I'm going to create booking, and here I'm going to remove these fields because we haven't deserialized them, right? So if we will run this, it will work fine, right? Even though there is no mapping between JSON and POJO, meaning there are like many fields in JSON. However, in POJO we have defined limited fields. It will work fine. There is no issue, right? So JSON doesn't care about the fields available in JSON. It will just care about the fields that are defined in POJO. So it will only deserialize those fields which are defined in POJO. So this is the best feature of JSON, right? So this is how we can deserialize a JSON response into POJO classes, and this is how we can ignore the fields. And this is what I wanted to cover, guys, as part of current discussion. And in the next lecture, we are going to talk about how we can use type token to convert the JSON response directly into Java collections like list and map, right? As like we have type reference in case of Object Mapper. So thank you for watching. I would request you to please like, share and subscribe. Thank you once again.